I should be lighting this candle right now, putting on some Sade and putting the kids to bed, but instead, I'm here to scream about trade deadline acquisitions with the rest of you. Welcome in to another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montia, occasionally known as your former mayor of PHNX. This guy's whatever, Thunderstick, former vice mayor. I don't care. I'm angry now. This is Jesse Friedman. He's going to stay way more level-headed than I am, but I'm going to do a lot of screaming tonight.
For the record, the candle smells really good.
Oh,
even though
it smells
it's not
so
lit.
good. It's not even lit and it smells good. God damn it. It's much better than, of course, Scott McGough's night. We're not going to talk about that yet. We are going to talk about that. But first, we got to talk about Zach Davies. We all owe him an apology. Most of you out there do. You just can't predict baseball, right, Jesse? This is another one of those instances where you are both delighted and infuriated by the surprises that baseball can bring you.
It was kind of a weird day at the ballpark, right? Some guys who have been really good were not so great in this game, and some guys who've really struggled were really good. Of course, Zach Davies was the main guy I'm talking about there, right? He was very good in this game. 7 innings pitched, didn't allow a single run, only 2 hits, and he was efficient. I mean, he threw 84 pitches through 7 innings. He probably could have gone out for the 8th if the Diamondbacks had wanted him to. And yeah, this is another one of those games that the D-backs have had in recent days where it felt like you were sort of set up to lose based on the pitching matchup with Zach Eflin, who's been really, really good for the Tampa Bay Rays this year and was very good for them in this game against a Diamondbacks pitcher and Zach Davies, who has really struggled. The D-backs almost stole one here, Derek. They were really close to winning a game that going in, it did not seem like they would be favored to win. Unfortunately, Scott McGough wasn't great there in the 9th inning. He wasn't great in his last appearance on Sunday against the Giants either. We'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, Zach Davies really was excellent in this game. And you can see how it might have been a good thing that the Diamondbacks did not DFA Zach Davies when pretty much everyone was asking for that to happen.
You all tweeted that to us, every single one of you, and that's fine. We're not judging you, but when you take a look at what Zach Davies did tonight, it's fairly incredible considering that this was against one of the best teams in baseball. We talk about 7 innings, season high for Zach Davies. He allowed no runs in a start for the first time since August 7th, 2022 against the Rockies, and he yielded a season low 2 hits. Davies had 18 balls and 17 strikes through 35 pitches.
It was so weird.
How?
It was like he was kind of dominating, and yet he was throwing more balls than strikes through the first few innings of this game. By the end of the start, I think it was a little bit more heavily favored as far as strike throwing goes. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but yeah, he was just kind of working the edges, and there were some 2-0 counts, but for whatever reason, the Rays just really were having a hard time squaring up anything against Zach Davies in this game. The average exit velocity of batted balls against him in this game was only 81 miles an hour. There was a lot of soft contact.
Yeah, wow.
I don't think it was a fluke that Zach Davies only gave up those 2 hits. And yeah, I mean, this has huge implications for the D-backs moving forward, right? Merrill Kelly is going to be out for a while, and the D-backs now more than ever need some of these other starters to step up, and Zach Davies did that in a big way here today.
We do have an update for you in regards to Merrill Kelly, by the way. We also have an update for you on Brandon Pfaadt roaming around the clubhouse today with his own locker just out of nowhere. But let's take a look at the last turn through the rotation for the Arizona Diamondbacks if you want your mind to be blown just a little bit. Zach Davies now 7 innings pitched, 0 earned runs. Ryan Nelson 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run. Tommy Henry 6 2/3 innings pitched, 1 earned run. Merrill Kelly 5 innings pitched, 5 earned runs. Zach Gallen 6 innings pitched, 4 earned runs. I love baseball. It's so great. I love it. It all makes sense. I don't get it, Jesse, but
it doesn't make sense at all, right? I mean, the last turn through the rotation, those 3 guys who really have struggled in a big way this year have all really pitched well. Ryan Nelson was really good in that game closing out the Giants series. Tommy Henry was really good in his start last week against the Washington Nationals. We'll see him again this weekend in Anaheim. And then, yeah, on the other hand, like Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen were not at all good in their last start. So it kind of feels like we were maybe due for those things to come into balance a little bit more. Just the way, I mean, Merrill and Zach were pitching so incredibly well, and those other guys were struggling so much. But yeah, I mean, on the whole, this is still good, right? You feel good about Zach Gallen moving forward the rest of the year. You feel good about Merrill Kelly when he comes back from injury. What the D-backs really need more than anything is for those other starters to step up. And this last turn through the rotation, you know, it hasn't just been like 5 innings, 3 runs, give the team a chance to win. Those guys have been really incredible this last turn through the rotation. And yeah, I mean, if you're the D-backs, you absolutely have to hope that those kind of performances continue.
I was waiting for Jesse to finish talking because we have a lot going on in the chat.
We do have a lot going
Domingo
on in the
Germán
chat.
just tossed a perfect game for the New York Yankees in Oakland. We have
so it doesn't count, is what you're saying.
I mean,
right?
does anything in Oakland really count? We got a super chat up there for from Arizona Armchair Sports, super chat $2. Thank you so much. He said, please acquire an actual closer, please. We will give that $2 to the Arizona Diamondbacks and make sure they put it towards their closer fund. I will promise you that. I will translate that into my own cash.
After losses like this, all super chats are donated directly to the Arizona Diamondbacks to fund whatever
100% of the donations will go to the Arizona Diamondbacks to fund getting a new closer in here. With all that being said, we have to talk about Scott McGough. When Jesse talks about balance, this was almost the balance that was inevitable with Scott McGough.
Yeah.
I know everybody is very, very angry with him right now. I am one of you. I have a pitchfork ready to go, and we can go outside and mob up to Chase Field after this show is over. But in Scott's defense, he has been incredibly good. So it almost felt like we were waiting for this shoe to drop as far as him having a bad outing. His last outing was not good at all. He bent, and when we say bent, it's like a permanent bending, kind of like maybe not ever able to be straightened out again. But he bent, but he didn't break. But this time he definitely broke. And he gave up 3 earned runs and the lead in the 9th inning. If I were to tell you that the Diamondbacks lost a Zach Davies start to the Tampa Bay Rays 3-2 without any other context, I imagine that you would probably be very understanding about that and way less angry than you are right now. But I mean, his last 2 outings combined, 2 1/3 innings pitched, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 69 pitches. Nice.
It's not nice. It really was not nice.
Still, I can't not say it's nice, but it's sexy Scott McGough. So let's not forget that this man has been a local sex symbol for a while, and he deserves some credit for what he has been doing up until tonight.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Scott McGough has been on an unreal run, right? Like since the middle of May. We've talked about that at length. And yeah, like was Scott McGough actually going to be like one of the top few relievers in the National League? I don't know if that's his true talent level, right? Like it was probably somewhere in the middle. And on the season, you look at his numbers, he still has an ERA of 3. He still has a whip of 0.95. He's still been a productive reliever for this team.
I want to say something, though. Sorry to interrupt you, but I want to say it's bullshit that Torey says that he doesn't have a closer and that he goes like to closer by committee, because he once again went to Scott McGough in a case where you absolutely wouldn't go to a reliever again after them having pitched the night before, or honestly, how many nights the workload McGough has had as of late. Right.
I mean, he hasn't pitched since Sunday, so he did have 2 days off coming into this.
Oh, okay. That's my bad. I thought he actually.
But he threw, I mean, in your defense, he threw 38 pitches in that game. And he did not pitch well. I mean, in that game on Sunday, an inning and a third, 3 hits. It says no runs in the box score, but he inherited a runner from Andrew Chafin that he did allow to score. He walked 2 batters in that game. And one of those 4 outs that he got was because of a killer base running mistake by Blake Sable of the Giants that very much could have turned that game for the worse for McGough and the Diamondbacks. So he's been, frankly, just really didn't have much of a feel for his splitter today. In his last game, he did get some whiffs with the splitter, but he just wasn't nearly as efficient in these last 2 starts as we've seen him be in the past.
That's the interesting thing to me, is that if you haven't, if Torey really hasn't decided mentally, even if he's not going to label McGough as his closer, why do you go to him there? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, maybe the matchups were favorable. Maybe there's things I'm not seeing here because right now I'm entirely too emotional to try to think through this clearly. But
I don't think it made sense to go to anyone else, if I'm being honest.
Really?
The
not
one
even Chafin?
No, because the Rays kind of rake against lefties, and he had the top of the order. He had,
True.
basically one right-handed hitter after another. I don't think it makes sense to go to Chafin. They already used Castro. He was good in the 8th inning, so obviously he wasn't an option. We got some people tweeting us saying they should have gone to the flame-throwing 102-mile-per-hour man, Justin Martinez. You are not going to call up a 21-year-old from AAA and insert them into the game with a 2-run lead in the 9th inning against the best team in baseball. That makes absolutely no sense. Justin Martinez was not an option here. I think Scott McGough was the guy. The one criticism you maybe could have of Torrey is, should he have had someone ready? Should he have had Andrew Chafin ready a little bit sooner in order to not, get Scott McGough out of this game a little bit earlier? I think that is maybe a valid point. But yeah, the reality is, and a lot of people have talked about this in the comments, the Diamondbacks really could use a bona fide 9th inning guy at the trade deadline, right? Scott McGough is a solid reliever, despite what we've seen the last 2 times. And to your point that you made earlier, he really has been great for this team. But that doesn't mean he is a true closer in the big leagues. That doesn't mean he is ready for that role in a playoff contending team necessarily.
Correct.
If you can go get a 9th inning guy at the trade deadline and push Scott McGough to more of a 7th, 8th inning role, push Andrew Chafin to that role, push Miguel Castro to that role, suddenly your bullpen just fits together a lot well if you can build it from the 9th inning backwards. Right now, the Diamondbacks can't do that with what they have.
Well, and much like we've talked about, the Diamondbacks are trying to make a tough decision potentially about their rotation, maybe a tough decision about Zach Davies. And now when you look at the way these guys have pitched the last time through the rotation, it's hard to write for the time being, especially with their issues with bodies and still not knowing if they're going to be able to land a starting pitcher at the trade deadline, that they need Ryan Nelson, Zach Davies, and Tommy Henry all to be able to pitch like this. Like, they're not going to get these outings every time, but these have been outings against good teams. Like, these aren't slouch teams that these guys got these, put up these numbers against. But Zach Davies, again, deserves all the credit for his outing today, and he is our king snake of today's game. 7 innings pitched, again, 2 hits, 0 runs, 3 strikeouts, and he gave the Diamondbacks exactly what they needed. It was a close game against a tough Tampa Bay Rays team. The Diamondbacks absolutely had a chance to win it, and of course, it just slipped away there. There's a lot of talk here about Pavin Smith.
There's always talk about
Pavin Smith. That last at bat was like, I wanted to put my fist through the wall with you guys. Like, don't get me wrong, the umpire strike zone was absolute trash. But when you know it's trash and he just called 2 previous pitches low as strikes, you just got to be swinging at that stuff. The fact that Pavin stood there with the bat on his shoulders in such a critical situation was fairly infuriating. And again, the Diamondbacks have a decision to make tomorrow about what they're going to do with their roster spots. We talked a lot about, them, which relief pitcher potentially is going to get sent down now that you have Brandon Pfaadt being called up. You also have Merrill Kelly returning shortly after the All-Star break, so there'll be another roster decision that needs to be made then. But the Diamondbacks might not be looking to cut a relief pitcher at this point. Pavin Smith might be the guy sent down, and honestly, tonight's game didn't help with his case much. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow, because for now, Brandon Pfaadt was added to the taxi squad, but he will be starting in tomorrow's game, the finale against the Tampa Bay Rays. We have some more information on that. But speaking of Rays, forget those Rays. Think more about Shady Rays, because you live here in Arizona, and if you do, you need yourself a quality pair of sunglasses. Gear built to last, premium polarized shades. Everybody should have like a good coat when you live back east. You need a good pair of shades. Living in Arizona, Shady Rays offers the most insane protection plan in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. They have your back long after you purchase. You can shop the entire collection at their brand new location over at Kierland Commons, a full-stop shop for all things Shady Rays. And also, if you get your Shady Rays there or online and you do not love them, you can exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Again, Shady Rays always has your back. They are not being shady about it. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Also, their Independence Day sale is going to be live very soon. How soon? Tomorrow. So go to Shady Rays and get up to 50% off single pairs of sunglasses during their Independence Day sale. Again, try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by a whole lot of people. Thank you guys for being here in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Nate wants us to throw shade. I wanted to. Jesse wouldn't let me tonight. He was like, no, we're not going to throw shade. I was like, I have a lot of shade to throw.
Derek wanted to throw shade at everyone who has said that Zach Davies is not a very good starting pitcher.
But that was before McGough blew the ninth.
I feel like
I think I would
some people in this office have been not so supportive of Zach Davies in recent days. So that just, of course, is only Damon, for sure.
Yeah, only Damon. But we thank you guys for being here in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, what are you waiting for? Join us, become part of the family, sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when any of our shows go live. Leave us a thumbs up like someone just did. It makes me exponentially happier every single time you guys do it. Jesse wants to hold the show hostage. And because right now there's 50 people watching. And Jesse wants us to just stop the show right now until all 50 of you give us a thumbs up. And I think that's just going to generate more thumbs down, to be honest. So I'm not going to play.
Make people angry.
That's a dangerous game to play.
On a night like this.
65, excuse me, all 65 of you wonderful people. So, of course, if you are listening on the audio podcasting side, we thank you for doing that as well. Subscribe there. Leave us a review. We always appreciate your feedback. Also, check out the wonderful world of being a D-back, or excuse me, not D-backs, not just a D-backs, but a PHNX Diehards member. Not only will you get access to Jesse's Full Count newsletter, you also get a free piece of merchandise from the PHNXlocker.com and 20% off all future purchases. You get a Dobson Ranch card. You get $50 gift certificate to Mountain Mike's. You get all sorts of wonderful benefits. You also get access to our members-only Discord lounge, which is a great place to yell and scream about this game. And so much more, so many more benefits with our partners, exclusive merchandise, exclusive invites to events for members only. We got lots of stuff planned. So join us today over at gophnx.com. Big news. Brandon Pfaadt was in the clubhouse today. We walked in, there he was. He was just, it's like a unicorn seeing him in person, but it was great to see him. He was in very good spirits. And Torey Lovullo said he was, again, added to the taxi squad today and will start for the D-backs in their finale versus the Rays tomorrow. And Lovullo also had some interesting comments because obviously due to the injury to Merrill Kelly and some situations with their roster, Brandon Pfaadt is kind of needed. It's a necessity to call him up, right? But, Lovullo kind of made a comment about how it's not just a necessity, as they feel like he has a lot to add to their starting rotation.
Yeah, clearly I know you guys saw Brandon Pfaadt in there. So he's on the taxi squad today, and he'll be starting for us tomorrow. It'll be a great opportunity for him. He's been throwing the ball extremely well. He took everything that he learned here, brought it down there, understands some of the improvements that needed to be made, and was executing at a high level. We were tracking that, and we were very pleased with the progress that he's been making. This came out of necessity, but he's ready for this opportunity.
It's interesting because there is some, again, he's admitting that we probably would not have called Brandon Pfaadt up at this time had we not needed a starting pitcher. But
yeah,
what are your thoughts on that? I mean, it still feels like Pfaadt is ready to be here.
Yeah, I mean, he said he was just as excited getting the news that he was called up this time as he was when he got the call for the first time a month or two ago. So yeah, he's really stoked to be back up here. He seemed to be more comfortable. That's what he told us, that just being back up here for the second time, you can understand you maybe have some jitters, being in the big leagues for the first time and acclimating to life up in the majors, and he already has some familiarity with that at this point. So yeah, I mean, 7 innings scoreless his last time out in Reno, 7 strikeouts in that game. The numbers have started to look a lot better for him. It'll be interesting to see how it translates. And once again, the Diamondbacks are not at all helping him out with a soft landing.
No.
He made his big league debut in Texas against a Rangers team that has proved to be one of the best in baseball. And now he gets his next opportunity in the majors against the Tampa Bay Rays, who do have the best offense in baseball to date. So tough situation for him to walk into tomorrow. But I think everyone's excited to see what Brandon Pfaadt looks like the second time around, even though things did not go well at all for him, to say the least, in his first go of it in the majors. I don't think anyone believes that that's who Brandon Pfaadt is, right?
Yeah.
I think there's still a lot of hope that this guy can become the mid-rotation type starter that a lot of people believed he could be, and we'll see what it looks like tomorrow.
The Tampa Bay Rays are not good against right-handers, so I think that's a reason why this is advantageous for them to bring him up. Obviously, we saw what Zach Davies did against them today.
I wouldn't say they're not good against right-handers,
but their splits are much worse against
they're
right-handers.
12-4 against lefties. You probably don't want to throw a lefty against the Rays if you don't have to.
Right, which is another part of another question we had recently was about Tommy Henry, and Tommy Henry is not hurt. He is merely being pushed back one game so that he starts against the Angels, who are kind of the opposite. They have a worse record against lefties than righties, so it made sense.
Which we suspected on the show yesterday, and Tori confirmed it today.
Yeah, but Tori, like Jesse said, Brandon Pfaadt sounded it to be excited. If I'm being honest, I thought that Brandon Pfaadt looked much more comfortable today. He looked much more at ease with being there. He was joking around with Steve Gilbert from MLB.com, and we all joke.
If someone's joking around with Steve Gilbert,
they're ready.
They're really in their element. Yeah. Nobody jokes around with Steve Gilbert.
But no, he looked much more comfortable. I did sense some nerves last time when he was called up, and it was a much bigger deal. I think this, again, since it's not his debut any longer, since he's already had a chance to fail, he's had a chance to understand how to bounce back from this stuff. More importantly, Jesse asked him a question about basically being compared to some of the greatest pitchers that have ever played the game and how rocky of a start they had when they debuted. And
it was a comment that Brent Strom made when Brandon Pfaadt got sent down. We were told that Brent Strom basically had a conversation with Brandon Pfaadt and was like, hey, some of the best pitchers who have ever pitched in this game, had a rough few starts to open up their careers as well. Go down and get right and come back up here and show us what you can do. And Brandon had some comments about his response to that.
So he told me that too, and I took that in, and I think just knowing that there's a long journey ahead, and it's just a little bump in the road, kind of helped me get over that, especially coming from Stromy. So I feel like we're in a really good spot.
Again, it shows the wisdom that Stromy brings to these young guys, but it's also a matter of respect. Like he said, coming from Strom, that's a big deal to someone like him. So again, it's just about doing what you do at a minor league level, at a major league level. Whatever you did to find success there, that's what you need to use to find success at a major league level. We saw Pfaadt pitch uncharacteristically when he was here, when he debuted, and that's the one thing that's encouraging is we know he's a different pitcher when he's comfortable and he's pitching and and he's dealing, right? So it's like I think Tori said today that he was just kind of grabbing out of his arsenal instead of actually putting together a game plan where you stack your pitches in a certain way that lead to whiffs, that lead to strikeouts, that lead to the batters having a difficult time knowing what's coming next against them, but he was also struggling with hitting, the edges. He was just throwing pitches right down the zone, and hopefully we'll see him rebound from that. And that's tomorrow. So make sure if you don't get a chance to watch it live, you catch that game on TV. That's a 12:40 start. We will be here tomorrow with another post-game show after that game. We also have an update for you on Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly seemed to be in fairly good spirits. It sounds like his injury isn't a significant one, but, again, they are taking precautions with him because this is the second time he's had some sort of blood clot that has made him miss time. He said he was glad that they caught it early, and I think that's a big difference here between the last time. They had checked him because he had some swelling and he had a flight, so just to be on the safe side, they decided to check him before his flight, and they discovered the clot. For those of you that don't know, flying with a blood clot is extremely dangerous. It can literally kill you. I was just watching a documentary on a pro wrestler who flew with.
Of course you were.
Of course, but it was a blood clot in his leg, and he flew with it, and it caused his death. Right, so it's like, and Kelly brought that up. He said the last time that he had the clot, the thing that was more concerning was that he flew a couple of times with the clot. He pitched even in a couple of games with the blood clot. Right. These are all things that are very dangerous. But
that was also, that clot, had to pertain to his thoracic outlet syndrome that he had a couple years back and had the big surgery and everything. that's a different blood clot because it's not that far from your heart and your
the
lungs
danger
and,
zone, as he called it.
Very important organs and whatnot in your body. So this was not, he didn't seem nearly as concerned about this one as he was when he first found out about that, because it was just in his calf. It wasn't at all related to the thoracic outlet situation as far as we know. And it sounds like a really good catch from the D-backs training staff. He was basically about to get on this flight and they were like, hold up, there's some swelling here that's not really easily explainable by anything that happened in the game or anything. And sure enough, they sent him for an ultrasound at a hospital out in San Francisco, and they confirmed he did have a small blood clot. So yeah, he talked with Ian Kennedy, who this situation has been closely compared to. It sounds like there's a lot of similarities between what Merrill's going through now and what Ian Kennedy dealt with in the middle of last year with the D-backs. And yeah, as we talked about yesterday, Ian Kennedy was on the injured list for 16 days. So you might only be looking at 2 or 3 missed starts from Merrill Kelly here for the D-backs.
You definitely won't be back before the All-Star break. So yeah, it's basically that's it. But here Merrill is talking about the injury and again, the difference between this one and the previous one.
I'm good. Obviously, no one wants to have a blood clot in their leg, and nobody wants to miss any time. Especially with how much fun we were having as a team. But I'm about as good as I can be. The fact that I wasn't rushed to the hospital like last time, the fact that nobody's telling me to kind of sit and stay type mentality kind of gives me a little bit of peace of mind. I see the faces and I hear the tones of voices that I've talked to the people. I've talked to the training staff. I've talked to some of the doctors. We're going to follow up a little bit more with it today, but nobody's given me the panic vibe. And the fact that the last time when they found this one, I was in the hospital that day, slept in the hospital that night. So the fact that I'm walking around and here talking to you guys, I'm taking that as a good sign.
For those of you that are concerned about Merrill Kelly, as you can see, he looks great. Like, he was talking about Ian Kennedy telling him not to let them put him on the IL.
Yeah,
because
that
he
was
said
funny.
After 2 days, he felt like he was ready to go. So it sounds like Merrill's going to be a little bit more cautious with this, and I'm glad he is, because he's very important to the Diamondbacks starting rotation. And the last thing they need is something to come up that could potentially keep him out for longer stints in the second half of the season.
What does suck for Merrill, a couple of things come to mind here. Number one is he's probably not going to get to 200 innings this year, which is a really big thing for him. He barely was able to reach it last season. If you talk to him about like his year-to-year goals, I'm sure that he has other things in mind too, but he feels like if he's hitting 200 innings, he's probably doing pretty much everything right, or pretty dang well if he's getting to that point. With this injury, it's going to be really hard for him to get to that point. The other thing is that the All-Star game is just about 2 weeks away now, and Merrill was sort of right on the edge. I think had a really good shot to potentially make the team. I guess he still could get that invite and just have to turn it down, but coming off the start he had in San Francisco, his case is not quite as strong as it was maybe a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully he still gets that invite, but either way, you're not going to see Merrill Kelly pitch in the All-Star game. There's really no way that's going to happen. And that's really unfortunate for him. He had a really good chance this year to appear in that game for the first time.
And he brought that up. There's all sorts of things that he wants to achieve. And, when an injury like this holds you back, that sucks, right? But there's a bigger goal that is developing for this team. There's a bigger prize at the end that they are starting to potentially see. And I think that this is the smart thing, especially for Merrill to get right. This gives him some extra time that he was going to have off anyway, and he should be straight by the time he returns. So best wishes to Merrill Kelly, despite the fact that he mocked the size of my microphone. It doesn't, like, the size of the microphone doesn't matter. It's the power. It's the power of the microphone, right? It's the volume of the microphone, if you will.
We use these little Bluetooth mics that are they are very tiny in Merrill, and they have all those like big TV microphones and stuff.
Did I talk about Justin Martinez holding mine yesterday? Because I don't know if I told that on the show.
No,
but
I don't think
I was just holding it out. So Justin Martinez, it's a very weird, awkward thing, apparently. Brandon Pfaadt today was like, why are you pointing that thing at me? Justin Martinez just took it from me and decided to hold it and be my microphone person for the interview. It was great. I mean, he's a great kid, so I appreciate it. But tell you what, you should watch this team at home, Chase Field, tomorrow. You can also follow them on the road, and road trips are always powered by our friends at Circle K. Of course, you check out your local Circle K for the best coffee, beer, and snack selection and premium gas. Don't sleep on the Circle K branded snacks. I feel like I'm selling this to you unnecessarily. You can go there and spend your money however you wish, and Circle K will be happy with you. But I want you to understand that for your own benefit, the Circle K snacks are absolute fire and should not be slept on. The Polar Pops, obviously, Tiny Derek trapped in the gas station pump screen will tell you that they stay cold longer. And of course, you should enjoy one. You can also get your iced coffee for $1.89. You can get Red Bulls 3 for $8, Monsters 3 for $6, and of course, 12 packs of beer for just $9.99. So don't miss out. Make sure you're not missing out on any of this great stuff right now. Text PHNX to 31310 to join their SMS subscriber club and get a buy one, get one free offer on a 32-ounce Polar Pop. Head to circlek.com/store-locator to find Circle K's near you. And while you're there, grab yourself some Four Peaks. Of course, Four Peaks is the official craft beer of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Smooth as Carroll's swing and toasty as Gallen's fastball. Four Peaks. You can get it at the Four Peaks Draft Room, where we will be meeting up for all our D-backs takeovers. If you want to join us for those, make sure to check out the events page in our show notes to find dates and tickets. You can also follow them on Twitter and social media at Four Peaks Brew, or go to fourpeaks.com/events to stay up to date on everything Four Peaks. Of course, Four Peaks for Teachers is completely in effect right now. Summer is almost over, believe it or not. These teachers have to go back to work before we know it. In the meantime, Teachers Tuesdays are here, back at the 8th Street Pub every Tuesday through July. You bring a valid teacher ID and you will receive $4 pints of Kilt Lifter, Wow, Hazy, and Hop Knot. And also, if you want to thank a teacher, you can nominate them at fourpeaksforteachers.org. Complete the form to enter their chance to win a bunch of different prizes, including cash grants, and one lucky winner gets a teacher lounge renovation. So nominations are due June 30th. You only have a couple more days for that. Don't miss out. Check out Four Peaks Brew at Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. Must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and please drink responsibly. Jesse, it would appear that the relationship between Diamond Sports Group and the Arizona Diamondbacks is not dead. It's on life support. It's not doing great, but it's not dead, because apparently, according to a tweet that came out today, they have canceled a hearing that would have occurred tomorrow. We imagine that this hearing would have been the final decision in regards to Diamond Sports Group no longer broadcasting Arizona Diamondbacks games, and then MLB would have taken over broadcasting those games on July 1st. Now, according to this tweet that we got, you can see here that things have changed.
Yeah, this is a joint statement from David Preschlack. Probably not saying that right. He's the CEO
Probably
of
pretty
Diamond.
good. I don't know. It's pretty good.
He's the CEO of Diamond Sports Group. And this is also from Derek Hall, of course, president and CEO of the Arizona Diamondbacks. This is what they said together. Diamond Sports Group and the Arizona Diamondbacks have decided to postpone tomorrow's hearing, tomorrow talking about Thursday, due to ongoing and positive discussions toward finding a solution. During this time, Bally Sports Arizona will continue to broadcast D-backs games, and fans will have the same televised access they have been able to enjoy from the beginning of the season. So yeah, basically what's happening here is it sure appeared entering today that Thursday was going to be the last Bally Sports Arizona broadcast for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Things were certainly trending in that direction. However, I believe Bob Nightingale tweeted out that it has been extended for 2 weeks. So it appears this hearing could happen in another 2 weeks, but it is not going to happen tomorrow. And in the meantime, you will still be able to get Diamondbacks games on Bally Sports Arizona, as you always have.
And I know that that's a big concern for everybody, especially considering the way this team is playing right now. But it's an odd update. It's odd because one of the big things about this relationship and the deal continuing was that Diamond Sports Group sounded like they wanted streaming rights, and Rob Manfred basically had already said there's no chance to that happening. So I don't know if now Diamond Sports Group is maybe dialing it back and deciding that maybe they don't need the streaming rights, or if streaming rights are now possibly on the table.
Yeah, we don't know exactly the nature of the negotiations right now. We just know that there appears to be some positive momentum, and at least enough momentum that like they think maybe a deal could happen. And, you know, I guess we'll find out in a couple weeks how exactly this materializes. But it sure felt going into this week like Major League Baseball was going to step in and be broadcasting Diamondbacks games by this weekend. Yep. They do have the Apple TV broadcast on Friday, so you weren't going to find that on Bally Sports Arizona either way. Right. But moving forward these next couple weeks, you're still going to find D-backs games on Bally Sports Arizona. And as we've discussed in the past, Derek, I still think the ideal outcome here is that the Diamondbacks stick with Bally, at least from just a personnel standpoint. There's so many people that we know that we get to interact with around the ballpark day in and day out who work for Bally Sports Arizona.
They're just such quality people. It's amazing.
They're pre and post game show people. They're cameramen. All of. I mean,
we've worked. I have worked with some of these people for 11 years now, and I mean they've been there the entire time I've been there, and they're long before me, telling me stories about the World Series and telling me stories about being around Randy Johnson and all of this stuff. So like, it's kind of wild to me how much those people are family, and it would be very weird to be in that place without so many of those people that we consider family at Chase Field. So from that perspective, we're glad that this is continuing, and we hope that a deal works out. I mean, in the end, we just want everybody to be able to watch this wonderful team, right? And be able to watch it, have access to it in every way that you should, and be able to watch it anywhere. These blackout restrictions are ridiculous. Everything about, these contracts and all of this money that gets passed around that prevents us from being able to watch, our teams is crazy. So
that is the downside of the situation with Bally Sports is that, as long as the arrangement looks like it does right now, that's where your blackout restrictions come from. Yeah. If Major League Baseball did get the opportunity to step in, we've already talked about how you would still have to buy like an additional MLB.TV subscription. It wouldn't mitigate backouts entirely with the current setup, but
which just drives me nuts. Like, I still understand why we're penalized for living in the city of the team and the market we want to watch. Like, that's just a crazy.
It's all about the money, Derek. Right? It's all about the money. At the end of the day, the D-backs broadcast rights, it's that's like the most valuable possession they have almost. They make so much money off of the right to broadcast their games locally. And if you go and buy MLB.TV, you're not paying that premium. That's not included in that fee that you're paying. So there's still just kind of a revenue issue here. Like, teams, it feels like they need to make this money one way or another, just with how the league is set up right now. So hopefully there's a day for blackout restrictions to end eventually, but as long as we have this set up with Bally Sports Arizona, we're probably not going to get that.
I can't help but wonder if other cities' regional sports network, even their version of Bally Sports, wherever it is, has the commercials that they run, because I can't imagine.
Here we go about the commercials.
About the catheters. Should I go on about the catheter commercials and how
swear
often
I have
we have
never
to see them?
seen a single catheter commercial.
Because Jesse doesn't pay attention. He just zones out on the old people
what about
commercials.
The fireplace commercial,
Derek? The Arizona fireplaces. How do they have money?
Not a word is spoken, Jesse.
Look, I'm just saying that it should be more of a premium broadcasting on your baseball games. That's all. You should ask for a higher dollar amount and be a bit more discerning. But who am I? What do I know? I know nothing. But what I do know one thing. Corbin Carroll starting in the All-Star game is a goddamn lock, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's a lock. I don't feel like enough movement can be made by Michael Harris, the second, and the Braves community in order to bounce Corbin Carroll, because as of today, Corbin Carroll had 30% of the votes to start in the outfield alongside Ronald Acuna Jr. and Mookie Betts. Michael Harris, the second, was with 19%, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. with 16%. So it feels like Corbin Carroll is a lock. If you haven't voted yet, go vote right now. Get those votes in. Let's make sure it's a lock, and let's ensure that this young man gets to start in his rookie year in an all-star game in his hometown. What an absolutely beautiful story.
Pleasantly surprising, right? Coming into this, you're like, all right, here we go.
Here we go.
These Braves fans are a little crazy. They pulled off some pretty crazy stuff already in the first phase of voting. So, you wondered exactly how this was going to pan out, but it seems like people are getting it right. I think out of those four guys, it's pretty clear to me that Mookie Betts and Corbin Carroll, not necessarily in the order that they're in so far. Corbin Carroll should definitely be first over Mookie Betts. But as long as he gets in, right? Yeah. That's really all that matters here. And as of right now, it looks like he's going to get that opportunity.
Jesse gets accused of being a homer. That is not a homer statement. Jesse is doing that purely based on numbers. And if you look at Corbin Carroll's numbers compared to Mookie Betts' numbers, there's no doubt about that. In fact, I mean, based on how they perform between now and the All-Star game, we could see him have better numbers than Ronald Acuna Jr. And that's
Ronald Acuna Jr.'s had a pretty crazy few days. I don't know about that at this point. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think Juan Soto should maybe start over Mookie Betts. He's not even a candidate. He definitely should have been a candidate over Michael Harris and frankly Lourdes Gurriel as well. Thank you, Canada. Right?
Yeah, thank you, Canada. We love you, Toronto. We appreciate you, but. The end of phase 2 is tomorrow. So the final results will drop tomorrow afternoon. That's when we will know who will officially be starting in the All-Star game, and we will all celebrate and rejoice Corbin Carroll getting that nomination, because that's going to happen. Many of you are asking what's next for Lourdes and the rest of the players that do not get selected. Unfortunately for Lourdes, once he is not part of this conversation, he just goes back into the pool. It does not
he gets
mean that
no special privileges just because he
right.
was in the mix to start.
Correct. So now Lourdes will basically be voted on by the rest of the. We don't know exactly. It's a very shady operation they got going over there. It's supposed to be the players and coaches voting on who would get in as reserves.
And the commissioner's office.
And the commissioner's office.
Don't forget the commissioner's office.
Oh, that's the biggest vote. Starting pitchers and relief pitchers as well. So it's going to be very interesting as that pans out. But Jesse, I don't know. I'm still hung up on this bullpen thing. Right when, again, it's kind of like the starting rotation. They need to do something about it. These were great performances that we got out of the back end of the rotation. But like the Diamondbacks need to do something about starting pitching, and they need to do something about their bullpen. I feel a lot of this is all going to be based on how Brandon Pfaadt does tomorrow. In my opinion, could completely change, and I could be completely manic tomorrow. But what are your thoughts here on what's going on with the team and especially the closer situation?
Yeah, the D-backs need a closer, like we said earlier.
That's it.
I know some people earlier were saying, clearly Miguel Castro should be the closer. I don't know if you want to go there either. Like the D-backs did that for a couple weeks there, and there were some pretty dang ugly losses for this team with Miguel Castro on the mound. There was that game against the Nationals at home where he really, really had a rough ninth inning. That one sticks out. There was the game against the Atlanta Braves that he finished. I believe it was. I'm forgetting his name. Somebody hit a grand slam in the ninth inning in that game, and the Atlanta Braves came back and won. Frankly, every time the D-backs have tried someone in the closing role, and I think we've had a period where Andrew Chafin was pretty clearly Torrey's never fully named a closer, but Andrew Chafin was pretty clearly the number one option for a while.
He definitely doesn't go basest on the matchup. Right? Like he
goes off like the hot hand.
Yeah, he starts trusting someone, and then that doesn't really seem like the best because
Andrew
talked
Chafin
about
had his time, and then it kind of ended. He had some rough outings. Miguel Castro had his time, and then it kind of ended.
And they both got overused as far as their innings were.
They also were being sort of overused at the time. I don't know if I would necessarily say Scott McGough has been overused recently. Yeah, Eddie Rosario. Thank you. That's the guy who hit the grand slam for Atlanta. But yeah, and now Scott McGough has kind of emerged as the hot hand, the guy that the D-backs are trusting in this closing role. And now I don't think anyone really feels great about running him out there again in a close game in the ninth inning. The D-backs need a closer, Derek. I think it's pretty clear. All three of those guys are solid relievers, but I just don't know that they're the guys you want to be turning to in the ninth inning of a playoff game as we think ahead toward the end of the season. So hopefully the D-backs are able to pull it off.
Mike Hazen, we got $2 from a super chat for you. We'll kind of tally the rest of it up as well. So, well, if you guys haven't checked out our friends at Pins and Aces, it is our official golf apparel partner, PHNX and ALLCITY. You can check out our friends over at Big Drive Energy. That is our golf podcast. If you enjoy such things, you can get that wherever you get your podcast. You can also check out our Pins and Aces gear, which we absolutely love. They made us our custom Phoenix polo, which I'm still waiting on mine, and I'm furious I don't have one. But
I'm also waiting.
Yeah, we're both waiting on ours. So what's up with that? We got to figure out who we need to talk to. But
I have one.
Shut up. Shut up. They make amazing polos. Is it an amazing polo, Damon? Because mine's amazing.
Beautiful polo.
Oh man, shut up. I hate you. The one I got is really good. I love it. But they make hats, golf bags, all sorts of stuff, including our favorite thing, the beer sleeve. So make sure to check out everything Pins and Aces has to offer and use code PHNX to receive 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com. Also, looking for something to do this summer. Not a lot of time left to spend with the kids. Check out Octane Raceway and Mavericks if you need some place to either drop them off and get rid of them, or maybe to just enjoy the last time you have with them before they go back to school. Octane Raceway and Mavericks has all sorts of fun to offer. They also have their summer engineering camp partnered with Engineering for Kids for ages 7 through 15. That is going on through July 31st. They also have a free bowling program all summer long through August 4th. Kids bowl free. Children 15 and under are eligible for 2 free games each day. Bowling can be ridiculously expensive. Someone posted that his wife took their 3 kids bowling, and the cost with shoes, Jesse, was like $150 for like 2 games. It was mind-blowing, right? So you're going to get much cheaper options over at Octane Raceway and Mavericks.
The shoes are where they get you.
The shoes is where they get you.
They'll charge you like $6 a game, but then the shoe rental's like $25.
That's why I bought my own shoes. People think I'm good because I bring my own shoes. No, it's because I don't want to pay $25 every time I go for.
Do you have your own bowling ball?
I do have my own bowling ball, and yes, it does match my shoes. But
and that's why people think
that's all right. That's fair enough. But I can
tell you for sure, Derek is not as good as having
bullshit.
His own
I beat Jesse. I beat everybody in this office. None of them can talk shit to me.
I didn't say you didn't beat me. I just said that your score, while higher than my score, was not necessarily professional level. I mean, that's decent. I'll give you that. That's decent.
I still remember what it is to this day. And that was over a year ago. Don't wait that long to go check out Octane Raceway and Mavericks. Book some fun this summer at Octane Raceway and Mavericks. I'm having a hard time with those words. It's Octane Raceway and Mavericks. Kart racing, virtual reality, laser tag, axe throwing, bowling, arcade, great food and drinks. So much fun for you, your friends, your family, everybody. Tons of different events throughout the summer. Check out octaneraceway.com and mavericks.com to learn more. Well, that's all we got for you guys. We're sorry that this night didn't end on a better note.
It's all your fault.
We had some scrambling to do when it came to all of our stuff because we were just ready to gloat about Zach Davies beating the best team in the American League, but now we can't do that. But we thank you guys for being here. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at cap_caveman with a K. This guy next to me is at Jesse N. Friedman, the maniac behind the Mac. Damon is at Damon Dog. That's DAWG with a little roar at the end. You have to bark or you have to type that in. It's not going to help you get his Twitter handle, but it's funny if you do it. Our show is at PHNX_DBacks, but of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You got anything else?
That's all I got.
That's all I got.
Everyone wants to know who the Diamondbacks should acquire to be their closer at the trade deadline, and we will delve deep into those discussions.
We will reveal that soon.
Yeah, there's only one answer, and we'll tell you.
That's right. We got the one answer, and the Diamondbacks are going to listen to us. But we appreciate you guys stopping by. We thank you again so much for your time. Love you, and remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it is so much more fun when you are the starting left fielder in the All-Star game.